Game one of the West semis in San Antone. Wolves at Spurs. Ant Edwards 9 days after badly hyperextending his knee. Played 25 minutes. Chris Finch said pregame he'd be on a minutes restriction. Wouldn't say what that minutes restriction was. Late first quarter, Wolves down 2. The knee looks all right. Working on De'Aaron Fox. Is that Jordan's signature shimmy? Knee still recovering for Ant. The jaw's working just fine. Next, Wolves possession. They're 10.5-point underdogs. This is a roll that young man relishes. One of his 2 threes. Ant, upon making the step-back 3, says, I'm back. Buddy, we know. Wolves up 1 after 1. But Victor Wembanyama had an all-timer of a first half. Pardon my Frenchman. 7 blocks at halftime. Second most in any playoff half in the play-by-play era, which goes back to Jordan's final title. Game tied at 45 at the break. Still tied early fourth. Edwards works on Wemby. That kid is fearless. How does this shot get over Wemby's extension, which is the height of the rim in his grill? Wolves up 2. A couple minutes later, Spurs up 1. Wemby gets his. Edwards drives. Wemby blocks it off the glass. Spurs in transition. De'Aaron Fox, 2 of his 10 points. That was Wemby's 11th block of the night, a new NBA playoff record for blocks since that stat became official. Spurs up a field goal, thinking at this point, maybe we survived a scare. However, Edwards gets going on the blow-by. Chris Finch said post-game, quote, Ant did a really good job of not pushing or forcing things, even though he knew he was on a minutes restriction. That is scary if true for this young Spurs team. Ant had 18. Edwards and Johnson exchanging words. Minnesota's up 4. Lead now 6 with 5 minutes to go. Wemby spikes Shannon's shot, but second chance bucket, Mike Conley, short corner 3. He had 4 triples. Minnesota's largest lead of the night. It's 9. Under a minute left. Spurs down 6. Night of the Met Gala. We're going to the young man from Metropolitan 92. Two-handed dunk. He goes for 11, 15, and a dozen blocks. Third playoff triple-double with blocks involved. 34 seconds left. Wolves inbounding. That's Ant's only turnover. Bad time for it. Dylan Harper, transition slam. It's a 2-point game. 12 seconds left. Julius Randle looking for the dagger. Off the mark. Harper gets the board. Mitch Johnson elects not to call a timeout. We're going. Julian Champagnie gets a good look. Had 17. Needed 20. Chance to be the hero, can't hit the bottom of the net. Wolves survive Game 1, Game 2 Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. And despite the big upset in Game 1, Ant still thinks he could have done a little more.
Oh, man, I made so many mistakes at the end of the game. I'm disappointed in myself.
How can you be disappointed? We didn't even expect to see you out here tonight. How important was it for you to be available for your guys in Game 1?
For me, man, 75% of the game for me is my mind. My mind got to be where it needs to be. And in the last 2 minutes of the game, it wasn't. I gave up 2 offensive rebounds, turned the ball over. Yeah, I'll be better.
I know for a fact, just me being out there, it calms everybody down. Not saying like there's any pressure on any of my teammates, but it takes pressure off of everybody just knowing that I'm out there, I'm available to play. And just, doing what I do best, just trying to put the ball in the hoop.
It's a lot on me because obviously my game wasn't feeling good tonight, and that's where the team is going to look for me, And, if I had been better, if the offensive leaders of our team had been better, it would have been different. So basically, if everything was different, it would have been different.
Please make sure you hit the like button and go subscribe to the Nightcap Podcast feed wherever you get your podcast from. We would like to thank each and every one of you for your support and your continued support. Those looking to purchase a bottle of Shea by Laportier, head over to LaportierCognac.com. If you cannot find it in a state or city near you, it is a premium VSOP cognac, the smoothest, best-tasting VSOP cognac on the market. Hey, try it and compare it against other cognacs, and you'll see that it is the smoothest, best-tasting cognac on the market. Please drink responsibly and stay safe. Well, guys, the Minnesota Timberwolves snatch home court the very first game of this series, 104-102. They got a welcome surprise. Ant-Man played. He came off the bench, but he played 25 minutes, 18 big points, 2 or 3 from the three-point line. Played tremendous in that fourth quarter. He was sensational. Joe, we're going to kick it off with you, and then we go to you, Twan, and then Ocho, you take it, and then I'll come home with it. How was Minnesota able to go in there, and San Antonio was playing some very good ball. They closed out Portland, won, 3 straight games, and closed that series out. How was Minnesota able to go in there, because I don't think anybody had Minnesota to win this game. I don't think no one thought this was going to be a sweep, but I don't think many people had Minnesota to go in and win the first game. How were they able to do it, Joe?
Resilient. I told you and Ocho, I said, man, listen, these Timberwolves ain't gonna be no pushover, man. It ain't gonna be as easy as everybody think. They got some dogs too. They got some guys who can compete, some guys who can move them puppies, play some defense. And then what you want to do with Wemby, Ocho, Twan, you want to be physical with him, bro.
They were.
You want to be physical. Yep, he had a triple-double with blocks. So what? You know what I mean? I think as the game kind of continued to go on, he was, kind of starting to wear down a little bit. But both teams was exhausted, bro. Timberwolves was exhausted at the end, but they did what they wanted to do. Twan, you know this, man. When you go into a playoff series, bro, your first mindset is, okay, we got 2 games on they home turf. We at least want to get one. You know what I mean?
I honestly, I think you got to give Minnesota the credit, the coaching staff. That was smart. I love the way they did it with Anthony Edwards, bringing him off the bench. So forces you now to play him only 25, 30 minutes. You knew he couldn't play a full game. I think that was the check mark #1 thing right there, bringing him off the bench and playing him in spurts. It allowed the other guys to get into the floor of the game where they're not dependent on Ant. And I think that's what really started it. But you got to give Minnesota credit, man. They was able to play their small line. They was able to play their small lineup. I think people don't realize when you look at this game again, they played small in the fourth quarter. They didn't have to play Rudy. So as great as Wemby was defensively, he's going to have to figure it out offensively, because you can't allow them to play small, because the advantage goes to Minnesota if they're able to keep Naz Reid at the 5. Because now the mismatches start to happen on the offensive end for Minnesota. So kudos to Minnesota. Big win to go in there and get that. But Anthony Edwards, I thought, was great. I thought he didn't force it. He played within the system. He allowed the other guys to help him out. And that's why they got the win tonight. The series has switched. It's going to be a great series.
I believe this series might end up going the distance. The second half, this is what Chris Finch did to Wemby. Held him to 5 points, 2 of 8 field goals, 0 for 3 from the 3-point line, 1 or 2 from the free throw line. He was 0 for 8 from the 3-point line. Ocho, watching this game, and like I said, I didn't think this was going to be a 4-0. I thought it would be an extended series, because I didn't anticipate Wemby to play. Excuse me, not Wemby, Ant-Man to play until they got back home, guys. That's when I thought Ant-Man would come in. But he's progressed so far, so fast, that they say, you know what? He's able to give us something, and whatever he's able to give us is more than what we would have been able to get if he was not on the court. So that 18 points that he gave you, and great efficiency, 8 of 13, 2 of 3 from the 3. Now, he wasn't attacking like he normally was, but that knee still probably a little sore. But he said, you know what? I still can get my shot. He get fouled, but I thought Chris Finch and the game plan that he had was unbelievable, especially in the second half.
Yeah. Hey, listen, the goddamn Wolves were resilient, huh? They was resilient. They gave Wemby hell. Okay, defensively, he had a shitload of goddamn blocks. That still don't change the fact what they was able to do. They kept the game close. Listen, the game was back and forth. It could have went either way. If you watched the entire game, they was scoring back to back. The game was close the entire time. And Ant coming off the bench, being able to do what he did, even though he wasn't effective as he normally is, coming off the bench, giving them boys, some minutes, not only minutes, but some effective points as well. That goddamn McDaniels and goddamn Julius Randle, what them boys hell.
You know what I was surprised by, guys?
What's that?
Is that when you really look at it and you look at these two teams, they really don't have an answer for Julius Randle. They had Stephon Castle trying to guard Julius Randle in the fourth quarter. You can't do it. I mean, I take my hat off to him, because he stepped up to the challenge. He ended up fouling out, but that's a load. You see guys 6'8", 6'9", 240, 250 can't deal with him down there on the blocks. And you got your starting point guard trying to deal with their power forward, because you don't really because they like to play small. They like to play Wemby and basically 3s and 2s and 1s.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a 4.
And let me add this, guys. You got to think about this. The Minnesota team has been together for some years now. They've been in the wars. Yeah. This is the first trip for San Antonio. You got to think Minnesota's not going to get rattled. They core 7, 8 guys besides Terrence Shannon have been in these wars and played these tough games. So they got an advantage that way. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's thinking because the Spurs had a great season that this is going to be an easy series. No, Minnesota feel confident. This group has been together. Don't look at the seeds. Don't look at being because they the 6th seed and all that. No, This group that Minnesota got has been together for this probably third or fourth year with this crew. Yeah, when you think about it. So they really kind of got the advantage when you think about it. They're not scared to go on the road. Everybody knows their role. And you saw that tonight. If Anthony Edwards can give them that, consistently, I don't know how hurt he is. It's hard for us to tell. But if he gets anywhere to 20, 25 a night, they got a chance to get this thing over in 5, man. I like Minnesota.
Hey, to piggyback with Twan say, I agree with Twan wholeheartedly, especially early when he said when Minnesota goes small, San Antonio got a problem. They got to figure it out because it takes Wemby away from the basket when you got Nas Reed at the 5. You feel me? So if he ain't going to guard Nas Reed and he going to play help defense, Nas got to hit him upside his head every time. You feel what I'm saying? So I like the T-Wolves. I don't know if they can win this series, but damn it, they off to a damn good start. And I got faith in them, bro. I got faith in them. Hey, listen, y'all seen them boys out there competing at the highest level.
They were. They did.
Outside of Wemby, I think Rudy Gobert played some solid defense, gave him some great effective minutes. But outside of Wemby, bro, when he go out the game, man, they get what they want.
Yes. They got because they don't fear. At least think about it. He had 12 blocks, but he had about another 5 or 6 alterations where you like, I ain't going in there. I know what's in there. There's problems up in there. But you know who I think? And look, Drew Randall played unbelievable. He was 5 offensive rebounds. He had double digit. He had a double-double. But I think what goes unnoticed is Mike Conley. Because every time they needed a shot to quell the run down, Mike Conley hit a 3. And remember, Wemby blocked the shot. And the Blues ball was all over the floor. They kick it to Mike Conley in the corner, and he knocks down a 3.
Blackout. Yeah.
That, you know what I'm saying? Because now the crowd is in a frenzy. Look, when Wemby blocks a shot, it's almost like Steph shooting a 3. That's the equivalent of the crowd erupts.
Yeah.
And so now the crowd is going crazy. We just shut them down. We go, somehow Minnesota comes up with the ball. They kick the Conley in the corner, and on left-handed, wop-wop. Right upside the head, and the kind of like, and we've all been there, Joe and Twan. You scrambling, and all of a sudden you're like, damn,
man. But you got to admit, but Mike Conley played so good tonight. You really don't have to rush Ayo back. You can count it now. No, Ayo should get now 2 games to come back. You don't have to rush him back. You think about it. He didn't play tonight, and he's playing really good right now.
Hey, I agree with that. I think when you think about it, do you play Ant-Man in game 2 though, or do you let him continue? Do you let him get a little rest?
I would play him. I just think you have to watch his minutes again. I think you put him on a minute count because if you get a chance to steal game 2, now it's a really, really different series now going back home. So you still want to take a shot at it, but I wouldn't play him extended minutes. You stole you one. Now you can be a little cautious. We got to see how he feel tonight, Joe. You know how this thing is. They got to see how he feel tonight. See how he feel in the morning. If he walking around limping a lot and can't put no pressure on that leg, then maybe you may think about it. But right now, I'm going for the kill. I'm looking to go 2-0.
Yeah. I think the thing is, Joe, also is that he hadn't did any running. So his cardio, he really ain't in the shape that he really needs to be able to play those extended minutes. So I'll watch out for that. But I'm going to be surprised if game 3 or 4, he's not in the starting lineup. I'm going to be shocked if they continue to bring. Now, I think one more game. I think the game, what is that? That'll be Wednesday. He's off the bench again. I think when they go home, I'm not going to be surprised if he's in the starting lineup.
Probably so. Hey, but listen, I like how Ant-Man pours confidence into his teammates, bro.
Yes.
You see it, especially the young guy, Terrence Shannon. Obviously, always Drew Randall, McDaniels, but the Terrence Shannon kid, I like his aggressiveness, fellas. I don't know about y'all. I know his first 2 possessions were blocked by Wemby. The second one was a damn goaltender, and they missed it. But I like the aggressiveness that he plays with. I like the confidence that they pour with him down the stretch, meaning handling the rock, making decisions. Bro, they got a nice squad, man. They built for this. They built for this San Antonio team.
They built for this run, man. I'm telling you, this team has been together 3-4 years, man. I'm telling you, they built for this. They not scared of no situation. I think all them wars with the Denver Nuggets has made them ready for this type of moment. San Antonio not going to beat them with trying to shooting threes, and Wemby's going to have to mix it up a little bit. He's going to have to post up a little bit. I know that's not his game. I know he's more of a perimeter type guy, but he's going to have to mix it up. He's not going to be able to.
Who is it?
One, because you allow them not to play Rudy. If he's going to stay at the 3-point line, you don't have to play Rudy as much. Now you play into Minnesota's hands with Nas Reed, who can shoot the three and make plays off the dribble.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to make a decision, man. It was not force Wemby to post up a lot more than he's been doing.
He's going to have to, because you can't play 40 minutes and only attempt 2 free throws.
Oh, no.
Ain't no way that can happen.
Facts.
Because now you play right into the hands, like you said. We're going to stay small, because the advantages that you have is that when Rudy's on the court, because Wemby can pull him away from the basket. Well, if Wemby's going to stay out there and let him shoot threes, he was 0 for 8 tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's an anomaly. I don't think he'll go 0 for again from the three-point line, but he's going to have to be somewhere around, and I'm not saying he needs to be around 14 attempts, but he's got to be 8, 9, 10 attempts a night in order for him to have his impact offensively, because I don't think he can just hover around like you said. And there are a couple of times, I don't know what he's trying to do. Bro, just grab the rebound. He was trying to grab the rebound and all in one motion shoot it, which was unnecessary.
This their first rodeo too, y'all. We got to realize too. This their first rodeo. Just their first time at this group. Where they the hot seed. Everybody expects them to win. So they know some nerves tonight, and they got beat by a veteran team who've been there before.
Yeah. Hey, you got to give. We got to give Minnesota a lot of credit though. Defensively, bro. I'm talking about they locking down, man. We got to show them some love on that end. And I'm sure coming into this series, there was an emphasis, not giving up too many easy buckets. I know late at the end, they were dead tired and they gave up some offensive rebounds. But for the most part, man, they battling neck and neck with these boys.
That was a good game. That was a really good game.
And give Jaden McDaniels credit. He's doing an unbelievable job on De'Aaron Fox.
94 feet.
Yeah. He's doing an unbelievable, because the thing now, look, he's so long. Is that because most of the time you're dealing with a guy that's short.
Yeah.
But hey, even if he beat him on the initial move, hey, he can get a poke here, a poke there, a slide, and he's right back where he needs to be.
Yes,
I thought he did a fabulous job on D Fox tonight. Everybody struggled. Now, I'm not so sure that they're going to shoot this pathetic again from the floor, but one thing that we do know, Minnesota will lock in. We've seen them lock in against the Nuggets on several occasions. So we know the one thing that Chris Finch is going to hang his hat on is going to hang his hat on the defensive end. Because they say, look, guys, we can't just let these guys just like it's a freeway get up and down. We got to put stop cones in their way. We got to make them slow down. We got to make them stop on occasion. But in all case, we've got to be physical with the big guy.
Oh yeah.
If we're physical with him, that is not what he liked. He wants to play in space. He wants to be able to roam, put a body on him. If you see, the shot goes up, find his bony ass and put body on me.
Hello. Hey, how many times did he hit the floor tonight, fellas?
Over.
He hit the floor a number of times. And hey, look, I enjoy watching it because Minnesota understands that you got to keep a body on him, bro. You got to keep it. You can't let him roam freely. You got to chug his ass on offense when he coming through the lane. Yeah, you have to be ultra aggressive with him, and I think that'll slow him down.
Hey, listen, you got to think about Rudy. Rudy, he had the Joker first round. Now you get Wemby. You got to give this guy some credit. He got to go against these gorillas, two of probably the best big men in the game. And Rudy's taking the challenge. We got to give Rudy some credit. I don't want to discredit him.
Yeah.
But if Rudy's able to give you 15, 20 minutes of solid minutes and not hurt you, and then they can go to their small ball, San Antonio in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
So what you think? What you thinking, Ocho? What do you like? So what do you think? What's the counter? What does the Spurs need to do to counter what Minnesota did tonight in order to tie this series up? And they're going to need to go home and get one from them. So how do they tie this series up on Wednesday?
Man, listen, if Fox got to come to the party, Wemby, regardless of how much they pester you, regardless of how aggressive they are defensively, you have to make your presence felt offensively. You got to do what you've done all season long. They got to have an answer. They got to have a counter for the great defense that the goddamn Wolves played. That's the only thing I can think about. Castle, you can't get in goddamn foul trouble so goddamn early.
Hey,
as great as you are,
Randall.
Hey, listen, I understand, but as great as he is defensively and offensively, he can on both ends of the court, he can give you something. But you can't be a liability too. You can't be a liability.
Hey.
At some point, you got to pull the reins back and play good sound basketball, not just out there being aggressive, running all over the place with your head covered.
Hey, but y'all know this is how San Antonio has played all season by committee. Yeah, Castle and Fox and Wemby, they may explode and have one of those games where they give you 30, 35 points. But for the most part, I mean, look, they got 6 players in double figures tonight. I didn't think that they played bad. I just thought that both teams were great defensively. This was a good a backyard old school game, 90s game, to where we lock down defensively. We ain't going to make many mistakes, and you're going to have to beat us making tough shots. This is going to be a nice series.
And you think about Minnesota, they on the road and they only turned the ball over 9 times. Drew had 5 of those. So that's the key. That's a recipe for winning games, is taking care of the basketball when you're on the road. You understand you're in a hostile environment. You know this is a team of young athletic guys that want to get out. What's the quickest way? What's the best way to keep them from getting out? Not turn the ball over. Make them take the ball out the net.
Right.
And then you got to think Minnesota's did what they did what they wanted to do. They wanted to get one. I'm pretty sure they wanted to come there and get one. They got that one. Like you said, now I got to think about. I'm going to sit down with Ant. How you feel? I mean, do we need to push this? Can you get you 2 extra days rest? Maybe not play you game 2, and just get that rest get ready for game 3. Those are some of the questions Minnesota needs to think about. I would think strongly about that, because a healthy Anthony Edwards, I don't think San Antonio can win this series anyway. So you got to figure out if how Ant feels. If Ant feels good, then you can play him in short spurts. But if not, sit him out. You got your one game. You win that Stowe, and now you got a chance to get them some rest and get an extra couple of days. That'll be huge for them.
Yeah, because if you don't play him on Wednesday, they don't play again until Friday. So now you give him Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so basically that's almost like 4 days off, because he doesn't play until Friday night.
Yeah. I don't think,
and you got to be.
I don't think he can get 100% though, fellas. Like you got to understand him dribbling. Yeah, he had some moves to where he could get by a little bit, but for the most part, he didn't look great. I'm talking about exploding by his man. I understand the injury that he's dealing with, and just by him being out there is a blessing for the Wolves. I enjoy watching him play because he didn't force nothing. Even down the stretch, bro, he let the other dudes bring the ball. Hey, I'm gonna be the biggest decoy out here. They think I'm, you know what I mean? He went to the corner every time, and he just cheered those guys on.
Yep.
I think if you Minnesota, you want to be greedy at this point, Twan. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
you want to try and be greedy.
Joe, you got to be careful.
Yeah, I know.
Joe, you got to be careful. Hey, Twan and Unc, most time when you got players like Ant that want to play, that come back too soon from injury, they really know they shouldn't be playing and should take a little bit more time. I think the goddamn Wolves have enough, especially offensively, especially with the way they play defense. Ant-Man can take a game off. Certain players, Unc, and you know it. Certain players you got to.
You know what I'm thinking about, Chad? Though, honestly, I'm thinking about Jason Tatum is just in the back of my head. You know what I mean? That's what I'm just thinking about. Jason Tatum in the back of my head. You don't want to get deep in this series, and Anthony Edwards ain't healthy. Don't get better. You know what I mean? That's all I'm thinking about. Like you got a free period right now. This game too. Whether you decide not to play him or you can play him. I'm with you, Joe. I do want to get greedy, but it's almost like, man, we got the one. Now we get a chance to get him 3-4 days rest. We may have to play game 2 without him.
Right.
But I think the thing is, the problem that JT ran into is that he having to play those extended minutes late. Because remember those games when Philly stole game or what they took game 6, and then all of a sudden now and JT had to play those minutes. What it was 3-1. So they end up winning the last 3. They won 5, 6, and 7, right?
Yeah.
So now you got to think about it. JT playing 40 minutes. He playing 40 minutes. You're hoping that, you know what, we get them up out of here. JT gonna get a long rest.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't get that long rest, and you playing those minutes, and then it was his right Achilles, and I think his left ankle, his left knee that started bothering him.
Not that it's not about him, but we all thought. I told you this a long time ago. I thought you should have set the whole season out. I mean, he played great coming back. Don't get me wrong. But I was afraid that he wasn't going to be 100% anyway. So I just think with Ant, and you thinking about advancing, you know you can win this series. I just think you got to play with caution. You got your one game. Hey, take these 4 days off. Let's get healthy. Be ready for game 3. But like Joe said, they might want to get greedy.
They might do. I wonder what's the extent of Ayo.
They were saying game 2. They were saying game 2 or 3. Ayo will be back.
Yeah, man, they could have used him, but hey, listen, They got like I've been saying, bro. They got a plethora of guys who they can throw at you and who can have big games. You know, I look forward to Minnesota being greedy. Maybe McDaniels play a little better. Obviously, he played a good game tonight, but I'm talking about as far as scoring wise. If Ant-Man sit out, you're gonna need him or Randall to step up, and one of them gonna have to, play a little above their head a little bit.
Well, we know Jew is more than capable of doing that. The thing is that he's got a mismatch. Unless Wemby is on him, but he going to bang Wemby. The problem is that even if he dislodged Wemby just standing there because he had some opportunity tonight. Wemby said, go ahead. I dare you. Get that shit out of here.
Why was he trying to shoot them layups? He know he got to kick. Man, you get that offensive rebound, you got to kick that shit out, man.
And Wemby standing right there. I'm like,
yeah.
there you go.
That man wasn't even jumping. That man was just sticking his hand up there.
Bro, he right there at the rim. But the thing is that Randall is the mismatch because they don't have anybody. They tried Keldon Johnson. They tried Castle. They tried Vassell. They don't have anybody that can bang with him.
Yeah.
So he's on the court, and you talk about, okay, you got him, and you got Nas Reed. Nas is going to be out there by the 3. Yeah. So now Wemby got to play him. He got to stay out there.
Yes, sir.
As much as he want to play halfway in between, he can't because Nas Reed is a great catch and shoot 3 guy. So he can't. Rudy, he wrong. Hey, he's like, go out there. He'll leave Rudy in a heartbeat because they're telling, say, look, if he leaves Rudy, you come and you foul him. Let's put his ass on the free throw line. We're not gonna give him any dunks. If he get points, he's gonna get them at the free throw line.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I agree with you on that, and I do think when Rudy in the game, it makes the game easier for Wemby because you're right. He don't have to go out there and guard Rudy way out there. He can just kind of sit back.
Yeah.
He play that free safety. He play that free safety spot to where he can help off in it because he know Rudy ain't shooting no damn jump shot.
Joe, you watched the fourth quarter? They didn't play Rudy much that fourth quarter. No,
they did.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying throughout the game when he did play, I just seen Wemby kind of sitting back like a free safety, playing help defense, getting all these damn blocks. But you're right. In that fourth quarter, when you go with Nas Reed and you go small, Wemby got to pick a side. Hell, he gonna have to guard or he gonna have to help. Whichever one, we got to make him pay.
Yeah, and you got guys, and Reed is more than capable of knocking down those shots. So you got to honor him. He was 2 or 3. He was 5 or 9 from the field. He was 2 or 3 from the 3. He had 9 rebounds. They had 2 guys with 10 rebounds, another guy with 9. But I just think, look, I don't want to, it's easy to overreact, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that just yet. I think we're all in agreement. We should give Minnesota their due.
Yeah.
This was probably the easiest game because, as you guys said, this is a young team. They haven't been this far before. They don't understand. They did a tremendous job on Portland, but as you go rounds, it ratchets up.
Yeah.
And teams that have been there, you look at the Lakers. Rui has been in the playoffs. Austin Reeves has been in the playoffs. LeBron has been in the playoffs. Those guys. So you saw the difference, and you see where this comes in. Drew Randall, McDaniels, Gobert, Connolly, Nas Reed. They've been there. They've done that. They understand. And sometimes, look, and they just want to get out and run. But it's okay. It's okay. You know what? Say, you know what, guys? Let's slow this thing down. Let's get a good shot. It just seems like these young teams, they want to play in the playoffs like they played all this running gun. And I don't really know if you can do that.
No, they can't. And Minnesota's not old. I mean, these are guys that are in their prime. They're young. But they're not playing against an old team. This is a team that's got some youth. Besides Mike Conley, I mean, they got guys that can run too. So they can play just as fast as they want to. But tonight you saw the late possessions. Who's going to be that guy? The one thing I couldn't really figure out, who would be that guy late San Antonio goes to in a 1 or 2 possession game? It was raggedy down at the end. They really didn't get no good shot off.
It looked like if I had to surmise, they're going to put the ball. See, they want to put the ball in Fox's hand. If you saw, he got ultra aggressive late in the ball game.
Yeah.
But he's being defended by McDaniels.
Yeah.
Which ain't no slouch. It's like, we want to go to our best receiver, but he got Pat Surtain on him.
Yeah.
So, okay, now we got to go. And Castle had fouled out.
Yeah.
So now Vassell, you see, Vassell did his thing. Champagnie got a couple of offensive rebounds. So that's the problem you're going to have if you come down late and your best guy that can go one-on-one, he's being guarded by their best defender. In Wemby, I think, hey, maybe you can get into a two-man game with Wemby. Maybe go pick and roll with Wemby and Fox.
What normally San Antonio puts Wemby on that elbow and they kind of isolate him and let him play. But the way Minnesota defends him, he got a guy guarding him whose feet is a little quicker than his. Yeah. So he can't get no blow-bys. He has to settle for them jump shots. And I think Minnesota does a great job in keeping guys in front and just contesting, bro. Hey, we're going to have to live with that. Yeah, we ain't going to block his damn shot when he go up to shoot. We're going to have to pat him on his ass in another way if he make it, though. You know what I mean? Right. But one thing we ain't going to do is just let him get by us and just have an Olay the way he just dunking the ball left and right.
Just to add, they're not going to beat Minnesota with him going 0 for 8 from the 3. They're not. He shoots too many of them.
Or 5 or 17.
Yeah, they're not going to win like that. He has to either shoot less threes and focus on getting to the basket, being around the basket, or he's going to have to make sure he go 4 for 8. 3 for 7. He's going to have to make some of them. You can't go 0 for 8 from the 3 because you bailing Minnesota out. You're giving them, you know what I'm saying? So he's going to have to figure out what he want to do.
But if you look at Minnesota, when teams have did a number on them and they made Rudy unplayable in the fourth quarter, they put his ass in the pick and roll. You remember with Dallas? Dallas put him in the pick and roll. When he was in Utah, the Clippers, they put his ass in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
They said, okay. And now, because he wants to play soft coverage. So guys are getting wide open shots, and when he come up there and he tried to dance, they right by him and they lay the ball up.
Yeah.
And your rear protector is out there 20 feet from the basket.
Right.
So if they don't have to play Rudy in that situation, you got Nas Reed and you got Jules Randle who have better feet. Now they're not the rim protectors that he is, but they're not going to be San Antonio's not going to be getting shoot around threes like they would against Rudy because Rudy don't want you to beat him to the basket.
Yeah.
He's going to play off.
Yeah. And I think when Nas Reed is in there and they run that pick and roll with McDaniels guarding Fox, they switching all that, fellas. They switching that. McDaniels gonna get up under Wemby, and they gonna push and shove him. They ain't gonna let him get down to that low block and get to his sweet spots. They making them boys work, man. This is why that man went 0 for 8. It ain't, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he got a couple nice looks, but for the most part, hell, they taking them legs away from him.
We always talk about playoffs, about matchups. Y'all know that. And sometimes, this is not a favorable matchup for San Antonio. This is probably the wrong team for them to be playing because they got size. They got a guy who can close the game out in Anthony Edwards. They got veteran players, so they got active wings that can defend. So this probably is not the best matchup for the Spurs. This is probably one that they probably wish they could have avoided. But this is going to be a tough series for San Antonio to get out of. I like Minnesota in this series.
I do too, man.
Well, the earlier game wasn't much of a game.